When I think of my own life, I rarely think of my own death. But I will die someday. And when I think of my spirit, I want to believe that it will live on. While most religions of the world believe in the concept of the eternal soul, the existence of the afterworld remains mysterious. According to the religion of Spiritualism, however, life does continue beyond death, proven by a claim of being able to communicate with the dead. Lilydale, New York State is considered the oldest spiritualist community in the world and has become a magnet for those who hope to hear from loved ones from beyond the grave. From what I've read, the evolution of Lilydale goes back to 1844 with the formation of the Leona Free Church in Leona, New York, just a few miles from what is now Lilydale. It was a meeting place for free thinkers, people detached from prejudice and open to new ideas and the development of personal consciousness, and searching for a better way of living.
Don't we all wish for happiness? To each of us it holds.
During that time, there was much experimentation with mesmerism, a healing technique which evolved into the study of trance. It would be an incident in Hydesville, New York in 1848 with sisters Katie and Margaret Fox that would not only inspire the efforts of the Leona Free Church, but would blaze the way for modern spiritualism.
Now, the Fox family moved to a small town in Hydesville in 1847. Hydesville is about 9-10 miles from Newark, New York, so it's central New York. And while they were there, they had all kinds of noise and rappings and noise and rapping. And one of the Fox sisters answered back by rapping, and spirit rapped, and they rapped, and spirit rapped. So they set up a code with raps, yes and no, and A and B and C, and they found out that the person making the noise, his name was Charles Rosna. He was a peddler. He was murdered for his money and buried in the basement. But they also, when they were doing the raps, found that they could give messages. And the learned people of that day proclaimed that communication is not supernatural or miraculous, but a natural phenomenon.
In the States, in America, 1 in every 10th person was a spiritualist at one time in history. For instance, Lincoln was a spiritualist. Many of them were spiritualists. And so Lilydale basically is a hub of spiritualism. Lilydale is the largest spiritualist community literally in the whole world. And there was many of them, but Lilydale is one of the ones that survived. And the reason that Lilydale survived is that we started teaching workshops here. So it also became an educational institute. Not institute, but an educational society where they actually taught people how to do the mediumship.
Lilydale's heritage is also firmly rooted in its surroundings today. With its architecture, mostly Victorian, there's an unescapable timelessness about this place. It's impressive to think that this tiny community has been in existence for over 125 years. To have staying power, you gotta have perseverance. I wanted to know more about the community and the people who live here, and what it all might mean for me. The scientific aspect of spiritualism pertains to the practice and study of mediumship. It also includes spiritual healing, channeling energy from a higher source. But right now, I'm mostly curious about the religion itself and its belief system. Growing up Catholic, I found Catholicism rather orthodox and confining. The idea of being judged by my sins and potentially burning in hell quite honestly made me feel like a terrible person. I strayed away from it later in life. Not that I don't believe in the idea of God. I think I simply outgrew the constraints of the faith.
It's lack of doctrine. You know, there aren't a lot of rules. It's about spirit, being in touch with spirit, the oneness of all of us when we're in touch with spirit, and just trying to be the best that you can be with what you're given in this particular incarnation. So I like that. It has some freedom that I haven't found in other religions. I have said that I would never embrace a religion, but spiritualism really, really appeals to me because of that. So.
When you start losing people that you love, sometimes the traditional churches don't give you enough answers. And when you start feeling the presence of the ones that you love, and you don't have any education or understanding of that, they try to seek out people who do.
Certainly Dad was the closest person to me that I've lost, and the most recent. His dad, my grandpa, died years ago. But it's only a matter of time until there will be others. Some people think mediums have special powers. Others think they are the voice of the devil. But for the people here, the messages the mediums deliver come from what they call an infinite intelligence, and is a refined right brain function, something within the capabilities of all of us.
All the leaders of all the major religions, they were all mystics, and they all had visions, and they were all using this part of the brain. It was people who used this part of the brain who wrote literally all the Bibles in the world. All the apostles were mystics, and if you know how to read the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita and the Quran and other spiritual books, they were using this part of their brain. Most of the time they come in feelings, and they're very subtle, and it's called clairsentience, which is the French word for clear seeing, clear feeling. And then there's clairvoyance, the ability to see things. And then there's clairaudience, the ability to hear things. And there's clairgustions, which means smelling and tasting. Now, most people are clairsentient.
Situated on the grounds of Lilydale is one of the few remaining old-growth forests in New York State. Deep in its interior is supposed to exist one of the Dale's strongest energy vortexes. In the heart of the Leland Woods, this vortex is said to heighten mediumship vibrations and is most prominent near what is called Inspiration Stump.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can I come to you, sir, if I may? Yes. As I'm linking with you, my friend, I feel I want to talk about...
Making this film does have its advantages. I had the opportunity to meet and interview several of the 40 registered mediums here at Lilydale. The decision with who to have a reading is one thing. The other thing is who might come through at a reading.
Now, you also get ancestors who have passed on, but you also get sometimes children that never had an opportunity to be born into this world. So children that were aborted or miscarriages, they come also. And sometimes you'll get your distant relatives, and sometimes you'll get angels, and sometimes you'll get what we call spiritual guides. Now, the difference between spiritual guides and angels is a guide is a person like you or me or your grandfather who's gone on to the other side of life and has continued, because they continue to educate themselves, and who comes back and helps to guide and inspire other members in the family. Now, let me say something funny. Just because you're dead, it doesn't mean you know a lot. Okay? So it's not that we speak to everybody who has passed on. It's just like asking somebody on the street, you know, should I buy my Rolls Royce? And the person doesn't even know how to drive. You can do that. So again, just because you're dead, it doesn't mean you know a lot. So one of the gifts of the Spirit, and it talks about this in Corinthians in the Bible, is the ability to discern the Spirit. So when a spiritual being or your ancestors come around you, they give themselves away by their energy, okay? And in their energy is also their intent. So you can read into their intent.
I never really considered that someone continues to grow on the other side. Perhaps Dad sees things differently now, too. I felt excited, anxious, and kind of fearful. My worry turned from, what might my dad say, to, what if he doesn't say anything at all? I mean, personally, I still wasn't totally convinced that this was all for real. But I was about to find out.
I'm smelling tobacco. Do you remember a grandfather, a person in your family that would have chewed tobacco?
Yes.
Because I'm just sensing his vibration, so I'm getting this through taste. And I feel as though he's saying to me that he's been guiding you ever since you were a child. And now I'm smelling lilacs. So I seem to be getting a lot of smells with intuitive smell. I'm smelling lilacs with you. I'm getting the common name of Marie or Mary. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Who's that?
Mary's my grandmother.
Okay. And now there's another gentleman here that had a cancerous condition. Who's that?
That's my dad.
Okay. Now, the reason why I get, the different mediums have different gifts. And the reason why I get the physical problems is because remember, I'm a medical intuitive. So that's why I get those things, okay? And as your dad is around you, he wants to say, tell your mother I say hi, okay? He would like to thank you for being his daughter. He's sorry that he had to leave so soon. But the main thing with your father is that you will feel his presence and you will feel the peace there.
The reading with John White left me emotional and bewildered. He was accurate about so many things. My grandpa did chew tobacco. The smell always reminds me of him. And my grandma absolutely loved lilac bushes. I did end up pointedly asking about my dad, and what I heard caught me totally off guard. It was much more powerful than I ever anticipated. Though his words were few, the impact was incredible. My first personal reading with a medium at Lilydale actually did bring my deceased father through, and it stirred up many things: disbelief, loss, memories. Even though his words were few, I felt acknowledged as his daughter, something I've yearned for years. I felt emotionally spent, exhausted. But Lilydale may be able to address that too. Just as many journey to Lilydale in hopes of a mediumistic experience similar to mine, others come for spiritual healing, hands-on healing, the guiding of energy from a higher source. And though it doesn't get as much billing as mediumship, spiritual healing is deemed one of the highest services of spiritualism. Do I believe communication with the dead is possible? Absolutely. Has it mattered to me? Dearly. And as I leave this place to re-enter the world from which I came, I bring with me a whole new sense of self. That life, my life, is truly a gift.
Don't we all wish for happiness? To each of us it holds a dream. It's magical to think of happiness.